everybody, and welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I have my June book haul for you. Safe to say that after my May book haul, I really should have just slowed down and stopped buying books. That did not happen. That did not happen at all. I got a ton of books by some Black authors to help support and educate myself. I participated in both the Amazon and the Target buy two get the third free sale. I bought a whole bunch just because it was the beginning of the month and I was just buying a bunch. I've got a couple new releases. I've got book of the month books. I've got it all. So we're just going to dive in. So the first deck I'll share with you, there's a couple that I think I've shown already in my my June TBR when I was going to read some of these this month. I didn't get to as many as I wanted to. This, if you haven't watched my currently reading video, I've been in the weirdest book slump. So I didn't get to nearly as many as I wanted, but the one great thing is they will still be on my shelf to read later on in the year. So very excited. So let's just get started. So we've got Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. This is a young adult novel about a young girl who is going to a private school. And while she's at that private school, they kind of pair her up into this sister mentorship program where she gets almost like a big sister. They call it Woman to Woman, and it's supposed to help her kind of ease into adulthood eventually. But they pair her with somebody that she's not the biggest fan of, and she also just feels like she doesn't belong in this group. She doesn't want to be fixed. She knows what she wants to do in her life. So it's just kind of her coming to terms with this group. And I really enjoyed this one. I do have, I did wrap it up in a currently reading video. I think 2 currently reading videos ago. So if you want more information about this one, definitely go check out that video. Dear Martin by Nick Stone, which is a phenomenal read. This is another one that I've already gotten to this month. And this is about another character who is going to a private school. I found that it seems like a lot of them follow that trend. So he's going to a private school, and one night he basically gets put in handcuffs for 3 hours because he's accused of trying to carjack his girlfriend, because his girlfriend is, I want to say she's half white. So the cop comes over and thinks that he's carjacking her and puts him in handcuffs, and it kind of makes him re-look at his life, and he starts writing letters to Martin Luther King kind of as a what would you do? What would Martin Luther King do? Very phenomenal story, heartbreaking. There's a sequel, Dear Justice, coming out in the fall, and I mean, I'll probably wait for it to come out in paperback so they'll match, but it's one that I cannot wait to get to. Slay by Brittany Morris. Again, this is another one that I've already read, and we are following our main character who also goes to private school. And she, in secret, has created this virtual reality game called Slay. And it's basically where all of these, where people can get together and play this game and really bring out their Black culture and their Black pride. And she really loves this world because she could really be herself. But someone from the game ends up words today. I haven't filmed in a long time, in case you couldn't tell. Somebody has turned up dead in the real world because of her game. So her game kind of gets brought out into the spotlight, and people kind of start thinking that it's kind of a racist game towards white people because you have to be Black in order to play. And she's trying to balance figuring out how to fix her game and keep her game safe, but also keep her secret safe because nobody knows that she is the creator of this game. But obviously, because it's coming out to light that it looks racist, she's worried that people will figure out that it's her. So it's a really good story, a girl in tech. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend that one. And then we've got A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. And this just got released, I want to say, this month. And it's about sirens. And I don't know much more about it other than that, but it had me at sirens. I used to love the Water Song series. I used to love the, what other series was it? The Forgive My Fins series. So like I really loved books that have to do with mermaids and sirens, so I thought that this one would be a lot of fun. It's a really short read, but I think it'll be perfect for the summer, so I'm definitely going to be picking this one up very, very soon. And then we've got Passing by Nella Larson, and I saw this on Bree from Bree Hill's channel, and I instantly watched that video and bought it the same, like the video was still playing as I ordered this book. This one just sounded really interesting. This is looks like a classic, but this is about two women, and one basically passes as a white woman, and she is married to a very racist man. I don't remember if there's sisters in this. I just remember that it was very similar sounding to The Vanishing Half, which I will talk about later. I think it might be her friend who still passes as an African American. So just kind of the two sides of the story. I heard it's really hard to read, but I thought that it would be a really interesting one to see what it's about. So it's a really short one, so I'm sure it could potentially be quick, unless it reads really classic-y, and then it might be a bit longer, but we'll have to see. But Bree Hill gave her stamp of approval, so I'm gonna check it out. This one I bought really randomly. My mother-in-law mentioned hearing about it, and I was like, oh, let me check it out. And this is White Guilt by Shelby Steele, and this is how blacks and whites together destroyed the promise of the civil rights era. I don't necessarily remember what it's about, but I think it's like when our white guilt actually doesn't help people, it actually hinders them. So it says, let me just read back. So it says, in 1955, the killers of Emmett Till, a black Mississippi youth, were acquitted because they were white. 40 years later, despite the strong DNA evidence against him, accused murderer O.J. Simpson went free after his attorney portrayed him as a victim of racism. The age of white supremacy has given way to an age of white guilt, and neither has been good for African Americans. Through articulate analysis and engrossing recollections, acclaimed race relations scholar Shelby Steele sounds a powerful call for a new culture of personal responsibility. So I don't remember, she just like mentioned it and I was like, okay, and I just like one click to Amazon, purchased it. So we'll see what I think about this one when I get to it. Another short read, but should be very impactful and informative. I did end up getting my copy of Fragility by Robin DiAngelo as well. Books with Shay. That's not her name. I'll link her down below. She was doing a read-along of this one and White Rage, and I was only able to get my hands on this one so far. I think they were reading it before Juneteenth, and obviously Juneteenth has come and gone, and I did not get to this one. So I will have to pick it up soon. I just don't know when that's going to be. Speaking of this, I just remembered I left it in the other room, but I also got I'm Still Here, which it was one of Reese's book picks for the month, I believe June and July. So I'll leave a picture here. I did get that one as well this month. It's by my bedside table because my plan is to get to it still before June is over. But yeah, so I also have that one. We've got With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've been wanting to read this book for a very long time, like since it came out, and I just never bought it. The cover is absolutely stunning. I've heard amazing things about it. It's about a girl who gets pregnant at a very young age, and she wants to be a chef, and sign me up. I love books that have to do with cooking, so I know that this one is definitely something that I'm going to devour and love. So I can't wait to read this one. Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany D. Jackson. This one is about a group of friends. Their friend passes away and they decide that they are going to kind of make his music famous, and they kind of don't tell people that he's dead. So it just sounds really interesting. I loved the cover. It gave me like 90s vibes, so I was all here for it. I Want to Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest. This one is about a young girl who wants to go to, I believe, Juilliard, and her mom doesn't really want her to. Maybe it's not Juilliard, I don't remember, but I know that she wants to be a ballerina and her mom doesn't really want her to, and she sneaks off on a car trip with a friend to go try out. So again, any books about ballet, that is like one of my like guilty pleasure reads. So I cannot wait to see what this one's going to be like. And that one is also a pretty recent release. Another recent release is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender, and I believe this is about a trans main character, and I believe that someone tries to kind of harass him pretty much, and they even like call him like by his dead name, and it's not a good thing, and all he wants to do is be in love and experience love. So I'm excited to see what this one ends up being. Like, I've heard amazing things about it so far. Like, I haven't heard like a specific review, but I know that people have been liking it, so I'm excited to give this one a shot, and this has a really gorgeous cover as well. And we've got Jess Mercy by Brian Stevenson. I'm so mad that I didn't end up getting to this one in June, especially because the movie was available to watch, so I'll get to it, and I will still watch the movie, but I'm really mad that I didn't get to it this month. This one follows a man, and I believe that he is a nonfiction, and I believe he's defending someone who is innocent. And he like really works on trying to defend people that are wrongly convicted and poor and people that like are not getting reached in our criminal justice system. So I'm excited to get to this one because, like I said, I really, really want to watch the movie. So hopefully I can get to it either this month or next month. I don't know why I said this month. There's like 5 days left. It's not happening this month, but hopefully next month. Then the last one in this category is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This was a book that was very, very popular here on YouTube, but when it was really popular, I kind of wasn't really reading YA anymore. But now that I've kind of come back into the YA world, it re-sparked my interest. So I'm excited to see what all the hype is about. I'm kind of nervous though because it is so hyped that I'm not going to like it, but hopefully I will. Then, like I said, I took part in the buy two, get the third free with both Amazon and Target, which was so bad. I gave into Target because I ended up canceling some of my pre-orders when I did go crazy buying all of these books because I was like, I really shouldn't be buying any more books this month. So I like canceled my pre-orders, but doing the buy two, get the third free, it just made it more economically sound in my head. So I ended up grabbing Red Sky Over Hawaii by Sarah Ackerman, and this has to do with Pearl Harbor and obviously being in Hawaii. Nicole Salazar, who wrote The Flight Girls, which we read, Shelby Kendra and I read in January and loved, so she quoted the bottom, so I feel like this one is going to be a phenomenal historical fiction book, and I can't wait for it. And look at this cover. Stunning. The Last Train to Key West by Chanel Clayton, which I probably should not have bought because of the fact that I still haven't read When We Left Cuba. But, again, like I said, it was buy two, get the third free, so I had to. And Kate Quinn quote at the top, and I love Kate Quinn, so it was kind of a done deal for me there. So, and it just looks like the perfect summer read, so I need to read that one. And the last one from Target I got was The Stranger in the Lake by Kimberly Bell. I had also kind of canceled this pre-order because I hadn't heard the best things about this one, even though I really liked Dear Wife, and because I didn't hear the best of things, I got a little nervous. and didn't really want to pay $18, which was what I was probably going to be paying on Amazon for it, but buying 2 and getting 1 free, it made it a lot better for me, apparently. So I grabbed it. It's a thriller. I don't know what it's about. Same thing with this one. I really don't know what this one's about either, just because I was worried for the longest time that this was related to the Havana series, but it's not. But I don't know what it's about either. Tends to happen when I have authors that I just buy automatically. Then I did the same deal over on Amazon. They lost my books immediately after I ordered them the last time, but they were able to do a replacement order, so that was nice. So I ended up getting The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. Now, I'm shocked that I did this one, but I was having a hard time for some reason finding a third book in the same price bracket as my other books. I read The Last Letter from Your Lover years ago, and that was the only book that I had read by this author, and I really didn't like it, so I kind of just said, no, I'm never reading her ever. But I've heard phenomenal things about this one, and it's about these women who have a moving library, I think, and it just sounded beautiful, and I just really wanted to read it, so I ended up getting it. Then the reason why I actually did the Amazon order was for 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand. And I know you're saying, Nicole, didn't you pre-order that book? Yeah, I did. And it came. And for some reason, I got a $30 large print size. And I said, no, thank you. So I returned that one and got the regular size print one. So this is 28 Summers. This is Ellen Hildebrand's newest book. I don't know what it's about because I just read all of her books blind. I've read every single book she's published. And this is her newest one. So I will be reading this one very soon. And the last Amazon book I got was Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. I've been really, really excited for this one. I saw it came back on Book of the Month in the middle of this month, so I probably could have gotten it through Book of the Month, but with the sale, I didn't care. It's okay that it doesn't have the little sticker in the corner. This is another nonfiction book. Who am I? There's 4 nonfiction books in this haul. This one, I believe, has to do with therapy, and I don't know too much more about it, but I've seen phenomenal things about it, so I'm really excited to give this one a shot. Then the rest of the books are pretty random or Book of the Month, so let's just get going. Then I have Run, Kiss, Repeat by Jamie Everly. I saw this one, I think, on Instagram a long time ago, and it's a thriller novel about a girl who might be in trouble. I don't actually really remember what this one's about. I bought this at the very beginning of June, and then everything kind of went crazy. But I'm excited to give it a shot. It's got a really fun cover, and apparently it was self-published. I went through, and I realized I got a lot of self-published books this month, too. So this will be fun and interesting to see what it's like. I grabbed Tempted by My Roommate by Jasmine Miller, and this is the sequel to Baking with a Rock Star. This has had a ton of different covers, apparently. It's also been Dating a Nerd or something. It's got a whole bunch of different names. It does not match very well to my Baking with a Rock Star either, so I'm kind of annoyed with that, but it's okay. I'll live with it. Originally, I did order this in June, and the day it was supposed to get delivered, it told me it was out of stock, which made no sense. So when June hit, I reordered it. So I'm excited to continue on with this romance series. They're companion novels, so I think that one is following the best friend and the brother of characters from my last book. I grabbed Family for Beginners by Sarah Morgan. I really liked a lot of Sarah Morgan's previous novels. We Had a Wedding in December, The Christmas Sisters, and then there's one more that I'm blanking on all of a sudden. And this is her newest book. I meant to pre-order this one, and for some reason it came out without me realizing it, and I didn't end up pre-ordering it. So when it came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to pre-order this. So I instantly ordered it. Again, I'm going into it blind. because that's what I've done with her previous novels. But look how cute. There's a doggo. And I cannot wait. Then I've got A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. Kendra sent me this copy. I read Reconstructing Amelia as an ARC from a Goodreads giveaway back in like 2013. And I loved it. It was such a great read. And then I've read 2 other books by her. One was Where They Left Her, I think, or something like that, and it was okay. And then I read one of her YA novels, and I didn't really love it. So I've kind of like steered clear of her, and I didn't make this one my choice because I was nervous about it. But when she had a copy, she kindly sent it my way. So I'm excited to give her another try and see if the other ones were just flops. But I've heard good things about this one, so hopefully it'll be good. I believe it's about this woman who goes to help this couple because one of the people in the couple turns up dead, and she's starting to realize that maybe they didn't have as great of a marriage as they portrayed. So, typical thriller novel synopsis, right? Then we've got this big kahuna, Crave by Tracy Wolff. This has been going around like rapid fire over on Instagram. I haven't seen it too much on YouTube. Granted, I haven't really been great at watching YouTube videos lately, but this has been all over Instagram, and it's huge and it's chunky, but everybody says that it is such a quick read. I don't really know what it's about, but I'm assuming it's got vampires because this is very Twilight-esque on the cover. Like I said, all I know is it's addictive and people have been loving it, and the sequel is coming out at the end of this year. So I wanted to hop on that hype train real bad, apparently. Then we've got Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez. I should have looked that up before I said this. This is a book that, why am I blinking on everything? I bought these so long ago, and it was one of those things where I thought I was going to buy like 2 books this month, and then I bought like all of them. I believe this has to do with, it's like Bolivian inspired, and I mostly bought it for the cover, I'm not going to lie. But I thought that it would be a really fun read. I've been really into fantasy novels lately, so I thought that this one would be a perfect one to pick up. And again, this was one that I was going to get off of Book of the Month, but then it kept being like out of stock / they weren't shipping it because of COVID. And then I saw that there's a sequel coming out, and I feel like lately Book of the Month has not been doing great at providing sequels, so, and they kind of stopped their YA branch, so I was like, there's a good chance the sequel wouldn't be on Book of the Month anyways, so I sucked it up and I just bought it regular style. We've got My Favorite Souvenir by Penelope Ward and Vi Keeland. This was the book talk from Kendra and Shelby last month, and I gave it 5 stars, so you better believe I had to buy my own copy of this book after I read it on Kindle Unlimited. This is a kind of road trippy type of book where we are following our main character who was supposed to get married and didn't, but she still goes on her honeymoon. She makes it 2 days before she's like, never mind, I need to get out of here. And the flight gets canceled because there's a big blizzard, and so she goes back to a hotel trying to find a room, but everyone's trying to find a room because of this blizzard, and her and this guy pretend to be siblings so that way they can get these rooms that were kind of abandoned. So they kind of spark a relationship, and such a fun story. I really liked this one, so I had to have a physical copy for my shelf. So I had a book credit from Book Outlet because I had complained about a book that I got in a previous order. So I had a credit, and then I saw this book was on there, so I immediately ran and grabbed it, and this was before Book Outlet decided to go crazy. So this will be my last ever Book Outlet book. But it happened in June, so I have to share it in June. But this is Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. This just released this year. I still haven't read Jar of Hearts, so I was putting it off, buying it. And then I had my credit, which basically made this free shipping. So I paid like $7 for a book that just came out this year. So I had to. But yeah, this will be my last book outlet purchase. Again, like I said, I had a credit, so that's why I made it work. / I bought it, like I said, before Book Outlet stuck their foot in their mouth. But yeah, a thriller novel that I've heard amazing things about, so I cannot wait to read this one. A book that I heard of on Riley Marie's channel, this is The Never Tilting World by Rin Chapeko, and I believe that the world has kind of like frozen in place. So there's half the world that is night all the time and half the world that is day all the time, and I believe that there's like a princess like of each world, and they have to come together for something, and I believe that there's a ton of romance in here as well. It's pretty chunky, but again, I've been really craving some fantasy, so this one sounded like it would be right up my alley, especially because there was a mention of lots of romance, so this one should be fun. This month, Candy Steiner came out with a new book, and that is Make Me Hate You, and I loved this one. Well, I didn't love it as much as I've loved other books by her, but it was definitely a really good one. This one follows our main character, Jasmine, and she grew up in this town in New Hampshire with her best friend and her best friend's brother, and they kind of were like the inseparable trio, you know, and something happens, and she decides to leave town and never look back. It's now 7 years later, her best friend's getting married, and she's got to come back. And things happen. It's good. It's not as good as her other ones, but more to talk about it in my currently reading video. I believe that's already posted, so you can definitely go check my thoughts out there. My last Amazon book is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I gave in to this beauty of a book. It took forever to get here because it was back ordered, because I was able to get the hardcover for like $9, and it was on back order for so long, and then it was like, we're going to deliver it, and then it was like, just kidding, we're not delivering it till next week. So it took forever to get here. I don't know if I should read this one first or if I should read House of Earth and Blood first, because this one is a trilogy. Let me know what you think down below. Should I read this one first or that one first? Let me know. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast retelling. I feel like everybody knows what this one's about except me, so we're gonna give it a try. Running out of spots for books. I had a Book of the Month book club that I'm part of, and we picked The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett this month. And we've already read it, and we've already discussed it. It was a really good discussion. This is about two twin sisters, and they go missing. And then we know that one comes back home with her black daughter, and the other one decides that she is going to pass as a white woman. And we kind of follow through different generations of their life. It's really hard to explain because that's basically the synopsis that the book gives you, but there's so much more than that. And again, definitely check out my currently reading video because I'll go more into depth on that because this video is already getting to be super long. Obviously had to grab Home Before Dark by Riley Sager this month. I already reviewed this also in my currently reading video from the beginning of the month because this was the first book that I read in June. It got here like June 1st and I read it June 1st. Phenomenal thriller as always. Girl was in a haunted house for about 12 days and like left, and her dad writes this nonfiction book about their experience in this haunted house, and it happened when she was 5, so she really thinks that her dad is a liar and doesn't think that what he said in his book actually was true. This is now years later, and her dad dies, and she inherits this house that she thought they didn't even have anymore, and so she kind of goes back to figure out, was my dad a liar, or was my dad telling the truth? Phenomenal, as always. Again, I have all my thoughts about it in my currently reading video. Then I also grabbed the Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. This was the pick for May with the book club, and I turned it down and I didn't want to read it. And then all the amazing reviews came out and I went, never mind, I want it. So this month I made sure to pick it up. This is As If Jesus Had a Wife, but I've heard that it's very respectful to the faith. So if you're religious in any way, I've heard that it's very respectful. And I think what turned me off at first was it was just like, what if Jesus had a feminist wife? And I didn't really put thoughts into it to realize, you know what? Any woman that they're going to write about will probably come out looking feminist, especially considering the time period that this takes part in. It's not the extremist that I was envisioning in my head, I'm sure. And I've heard that it's a lot about like that time period in history in general, and like the focus on Jesus isn't the hugest part. So I'm excited to give it a shot. I'm excited to see what I think. Mama Lee Ellen's Book Nook posted a bunch of reviews from people from various backgrounds, people who are extremely religious, people who are not religious, people who have different belief systems. And so I was excited to see that kind of across the board, people were 4 and 5 starring it. So I'm excited to see what my thoughts end up being. And the last book that I ended up grabbing was The Last Flight by Julie Clark. This is another kind of thrillery novel. I've seen phenomenal reviews for this one. And it's about 2 women that are trying to escape their lives, and they go to the airport to kind of escape and do whatever they need to do. They meet and they realize that they both want to escape, so they switch spots. One goes where the other one was going, and one goes where the other one was going. And one of the planes crashes. So now that person is assumed dead, and then the other person has to basically like take on this new persona and this new life because the old her is technically dead right now. So sounds really, really exciting, really, really interesting, and I cannot wait to read this one. So yeah, this is a 30-minute video with a million books. Let me know if you've read any of these books down below, any of them that I should read right away. Again, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys really, really soon. Bye, everybody.